Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with, and some which are new to me. Today's game is Jug. Now, there's not a ton of information about this game out there online, so there's only so much I can tell you about it. One interesting thing I can tell you about it, though, is that this was an early game that was contributed to by a guy called Martin Kenwright, who became much more well known in sort of the slightly later PC gaming era, when he established DID, and they put out excellent flight simulations like TFX, EF2000 and the like. And he's still working in the business today, still doing all sorts of things in there. But Jug was one of his earliest games back when he was working as a graphic designer. So, let's see what this is all about. You are an interactive humanoid, composed of titanium fleximetal and other organic materials. First built in 3642 AD. Nicknamed Jug because of your barrel-chested profile, which can transform into many different shapes and reform instantaneously. The task is simple. This is your 14th tour of duty, and within the living core of the planet Spiraeus is a deadly virus causing its brain to malfunction and all the inner sanctums to die as the life force is diminished. This planet is divided into 4 zones, each of which has 4 sectors. Trapdoors in the floor and holes in the roof will enable you to move up or down a level. You must find and destroy the deadly tumour within the deepest parts of the planet before it becomes an empty shell drifting in the depths of space and time. Warning! The planet's immune system will see the Jug as a hostile and alien body, so you will be attacked by the defence system of the very planet you are trying to save. Vital equipment will be transported into the planet along your proposed trajectory to help you in your quest, and fuel pods will be available throughout the game. But take heed, the problems will really start when you've reached the source of the disaster. With bi-directional scrolling, parallax scrolling, and the most stunning graphics possible on the ST, you must surely agree that Jug is a game that no one should be without. Bold words indeed. Bold words indeed. So, this is a game by Microdeal, if you hadn't already noticed on the box. And you may recall back at the start of this second series of Atari ST A to Z, we looked at a game called Airball, which had a similarly verbose storyline on the back of its box. And yeah, if you actually then look at the manual in the box, the actual introduction is just 3 short paragraphs. Take control of Jug, the last hope of the dying planet Spiraeus. The people of Spiraeus have entrusted you with their lives. They're spelled wrong. Dare you enter into the very heart of a planet to destroy the invading mutants before they destroy you? Play Jug, the latest in mega games from Microdeal. And yeah, that's about it as to what it's all about, really. So we'll see how this plays in just a moment, but suffice to say it's an action-adventure game with a fairly open structure. It's level-based, but there's still a lot of exploration and stuff in there. So fairly typical for action-adventures at the time, but there's a few unusual things it does along the way as well. And it's a game I'm quite fond of. It's not the best game in the world by any means, but it's one that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for. So, without further ado, let's go play Jug. Okay, here we are with Jug. So, I had this game back in the day, as you can tell from the box that I've already showed you, but I never really got very far with it. So let's see if we can rectify that today. Let's see how we get on. So, beginning Zone 1, Sector 1. So what we have here is basically a horizontally scrolling action-adventure with shoot-'em-up elements. So there's a touch of the Metroid about this, certainly. In that there's exploring and collecting items and proceeding through the levels in a sort of open structure. But as I recall, it's mostly about finding your way to the exit more than anything. And you do that through passing through these teleporters, defeating enemies, collecting fuel to replenish your energy. And generally having a good old time. Right, this thing here allows you to transform. And use one of the other weapons. This thing here is a key. And I can't remember what that's actually for. Opening something, obviously, but... opening what is the question? I'm starting to remember one thing I always used to find a little bit troublesome about this game, which was the fact that it's quite difficult to proceed through. In fact, I'd say impossible to proceed through without taking damage. It is sort of designed around that though, so it assumes you're going to take some damage. And that's why it provides you with things like the fuel drops and the replenishing bar at the bottom. It is worth noting though that the fuel and the amount of damage you can take are two separate things. So the fuel is the big bar in the middle, and that can be replenished. Your damage meter, on the other hand, is over on the left hand side. It currently looks like sort of 3 commas in a column. And they light up and turn green as you take damage. I can't remember if you can actually repair those. I think you can. But I'm not entirely sure how offhand. Alright, can't go that way. I can go around this way, however. I'm getting a bit short on fuel. Now, fuel does gradually replenish over time, as you'll notice, but anytime you jump, basically, you're using fuel. So ideally, you want to try and conserve that as much as possible. Or collect some fuel bits, like this. There we go. Oh, collecting fuel does also replenish your damage from the look of things as well, so... there's another key. Okay, so keys just immediately open a door or a wall that's in the way. Which is nice. Now, the question is, where the hell are we going? Now, I'm not sure this quite lives up to the claim that it is the most incredible graphics you'll ever see on the Atari ST, but it's certainly quite a nice looking game. I always like the interface and the parallax scrolling, and it moves quite smoothly, and the animations are pretty good. And I always very much like that morphing effect. Oh, there we go. Finished the first stage. We get all our health back, and we have a level with a slightly different colour palette. So you can hopefully see what this game is trying to do. It's trying to combine elements of shoot 'em ups with that more sort of open plan action-adventure formula that was popular in the 8 and 16-bit eras. And it does so mostly successfully. Like I say, there's elements that perhaps don't work quite as well as they could. Like it's a bit too easy to take damage, but then that is sort of counteracted by the fact that you can take quite a lot of hits before you lose a life. It's not a game with one-hit kills or anything like that, so... yeah, could be much worse. And then a bit of mechanical interest is added by the fact that each of the weapons have their own distinct use, suitable for different types of enemies in different situations. So yeah, I always found this a pretty interesting, pretty enjoyable game. I don't think I ever got beyond this stage, mind you, but... oh, hello, there was a thing there. So that's apparent for our third transformation, which is like a smart bomb type thing. So you save that for emergencies mostly. I don't believe there's any bosses in this. Or at least I've never encountered any. I mean, there may well be at the end of a zone, but I've never run across them. But as you can probably see, this game's got a bit of a learning curve. And we're dead. So, I think we'll leave that there for now. You've hopefully got the idea of how that all works by now. So that is Jug by Microdeal. A very early example of a game where Martin Kenwright worked on it. As I said in the introduction, later became much more well known for his work on flight simulators and sort of really pushing the boundaries of graphical technology on PCs in particular. But yeah, this was back when he was working as a graphic artist. And yeah, pretty enjoyable game all round. So that's Jug. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.